Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Kung Fu of Holacracy. I'm Karim Bichet of Clear Paths Consulting. In this episode, I want to talk a little bit about tension resolution. It's a very important aspect of the practice, or of the Kung Fu of Holacracy, is how to resolve one's tensions. I'm not going to speak at length about what tension resolution is or how to resolve one's tensions. There's a lot of really good resources out there. Instead, I want to talk about the nuanced skill of what I like to call fidelity to your tension, but flexibility with your proposal. So it is really important to resolve one's tensions in a holacratic organization. It is how the whole organization moves forward. And we ask that each and every single person from the roles that they are speaking from be really loyal to their tensions, be really clear and crisp and direct about resolving their tensions. But what does it mean to be loyal or have high fidelity to your tension, but then have flexibility with your proposal? I want to illustrate this first with a really overly simplified example. So someone in an HR role walks into the office of someone in a finance role with a really big tension, and they come in immediately with a proposal. And they say, we need to purchase 50 high quality, really good coats for every single one of our employees, one per employee. That in turn raises attention to the person in the finance role, and they say, you know what, we've been cash negative this year, we just don't have the money to make this kind of purchase. There's no way we can do that. This is a very common case when people work together. You come in with a proposal and a person stands in your way. The immediate sense you have is frustration, and if you're lucky enough to not already have interpersonal dynamics with this person, which is very unlikely if you've been working together for a while, you can then start imagining, oh, they're out to get me, they're always interrupting my work, they're out to sabotage me. That's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is you'll try and find a compromise between your two ideas. And you'll argue and butt heads, and maybe you won't find any compromise at all, and maybe you'll find a compromise. You'll be like, okay, we'll end up buying 10 low quality coats and we'll buy them with credit. And that's a compromise. But the problem with a compromise like this is that neither party actually got their full tension resolved. So you just walk out with pseudo tensions and pseudo resolutions for your tension, which not only causes frustration and animosity and resentment for both parties involved and wastes a lot of time and energy, but doesn't actually move the company forward in the way that it needs to. Here's what that scenario would have looked like had both of them walked in being more accurate and vulnerable and explicit and transparent about their tension instead of just about their proposal. So instead of coming in, the person from HR, the HR role, instead of walking in and saying, we need 50 coats, the other person would say, wait, what is your tension here? And the HR person would think and say, well, my tension is I've been getting complaint after complaint from people who work here. They're really struggling. They're very cold. All day, all night in the office, they're really cold. And it's become unbearable. And I'm carrying this tension, and the purpose of my role is the happiness and thriving of people in our organization. The finance person says, well, my tension is that we're cash flow negative and we can't afford purchases. Now that you know both tensions, there's a lot more room for what in Holacracy we call integration. Integration is not the same as compromise. It is finding a solution that would resolve both tensions that might be very different from the initial proposals of, let's buy 50 coats. An overly simplified example of an integration here could be, oh, let's talk to the role that is in charge of the building. And they go speak with the person in charge of that role, and they say, oh yeah, actually, you know what, we can just raise the temperature of the thermostat. And this way everybody will be warm. Again, an incredibly overly simplified example, but actually a lot of times in my experience sitting in governance and tactical meetings one after the other, I see these things happen. If you come in really stubborn about your proposal, this is how we have to do it, this is the way we're going to move forward, this is what needs to be done, it's very difficult to integrate and very difficult to actually collaborate. It's difficult to actually collaborate with other people. And we end up bullying each other or conceding to each other in a way that builds resentment and doesn't move the company forward. If we come in vulnerably with what our tension is, and never betray our tension, always stay true to it. Our tension is our truth. It is in our integrity, in our discipline practice of holacracy, the core of how we move forward. If we stay true to our tension, then the entire organization will move forward, but in a way that is integrated with other people's opinions, other people's tensions, other people's intelligence, and other people's needs. Thank you. I hope this was useful to you. And again, please reach out with any questions or comments. I'd love to hear how has tension resolution been for you in holacratic practice, and I'm always available to answer any questions. Thank you.